Hi, I'm Julian from BehindTheAudio.com and we're at Soundtrack Cologne 14. I'm sitting down with Bobby Tahouri, who did, among other things, the Rise of the Tomb Raider soundtrack. And I thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I already read your interview on the Rise of the Tomb Raider forum, and you talked about some things there, but just to reiterate, maybe you want to tell me some things about the process, how you got into the project, and
Yeah, I got involved in 2013. I was asked to demo for Rise of the Tomb Raider, and thankfully they liked my music and they hired me.
All right.
Yeah, and I had around 2 years to work on the project. And,
wow.
Yeah, and it was a dream project. It
was
great. Yeah.
So it was like a regular pitch. Those are like mandatory in the AAA industry.
Yes.
Right now, right?
Yes. Yeah, they sent me some QuickTime, some stills of some artwork, and I wrote several demos.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right.
And thankfully they liked mine, and yeah.
This just a little behind the scenes thing. Are those paid usually? Those pitches or?
Maybe sometimes they are, but I don't remember. I don't think it was in this case.
Okay.
But for a game like Tomb Raider, it's fine.
Yeah, you're willing to invest. Of course, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just talked about QuickTime, so it was very varied in terms of what the music has been to be able to do, and you have lots of these like really cinematic, quick things, and also like QuickTime events that can take like longer or shorter amounts of time, but the music has to keep playing and get right into the next cue.
Right.
How did you do that?
Well, thankfully they have Crystal Dynamics has a great audio department that can implement all these things. So normally I write in looped either for cinematics just from start to finish, but then for the loop-based gameplay, I'll write loops of either combat music or traversal music, and then I'll also write stingers, and so these different audio elements will just be triggered depending on what the player does. So I don't have to worry about that too much.
All right.
Yeah.
But so, like, if we have a situation in which Lara hangs off a cliff, and you have to like make a jump to the next cliff,
right?
You could take longer or shorter amounts of time.
So during that period, yes, the music has to just sustain and to play and not get boring, and yes, since it's a game, it has to loop.
Of course, okay.
And hopefully I've added enough variety in the looped sections for it to be interesting.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes music will play and then it'll kind of just die down to nothing.
Okay.
And that'll feel natural to me.
Okay.
Oftentimes, where you're playing a game and you're just standing there doing nothing. And if the music goes away and the sound effects continue and you're in the environment, it's fine.
And those sequences, that's what I meant by it's very varied. You have those longer gameplay sequences, you have some calm sequences, but then you have these really big set pieces.
Sure.
And you also mentioned in that other interview, you mentioned a dynamic percussion system by Intelligent Music Systems.
Yes.
So that's something that from what I understood, it's like something that composes music on the spot or something?
Yeah, well actually, so what it does is this software tool so I compose a loop, a percussion loop, and I compose a gameplay loop with music with orchestra, percussion, whatever
Mm-hmm.
the scene calls for. And this software, I input my percussion only,
Mm-hmm.
my MIDI file and samples of the percussion I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
It analyzes it, and because loops are by nature repetitive,
Mm-hmm.
what it does is, after it analyzes the music, the percussion, it will then provide variety by removing a few notes here and there.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't compose music.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It basically gives you more options by analyzing the music and kind of making it seem like as if you're playing percussion with a group of players,
Mhm.
and everyone's playing the same song, but then they're improvising and adding a bit of variety here and there,
Mhm.
but the music stays the same.
Oh, that's
The
amazing.
essence doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
So the software it doesn't add music, it doesn't add
Mhm.
notes. It basically just removes notes to provide variety, so the loop doesn't get
So
repetitive.
it's essentially mainly for percussions. You
think
can't really
so.
do it with melodies or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. You could, but yeah, not for this instance. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But and it's also like optimized so it won't take away more important beats. So it won't just take away the one and there'll be like oh
That's true. It intelligently analyzes the music.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah, I think it knows not to do that.
okay.
Not to trip you up and take out the one and make you think, well, wait a second, that
Yeah.
feels weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That would be a variation that really I think.
Right. Yeah. I think it would only basically remove, if you're doing some 16th notes, it would remove one or two here or there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's I think really effective.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And so do you implement it just to stay on this?
Sure.
It's a really geeky topic, but I think most of our audiences are composers and
Great.
people really are into this kind of thing. So do you integrate that system into your into the middleware?
Right. I could, but I didn't. They gave me the software to use if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I could input the MIDI file and samples, and I could make panning adjustments,
Mm-hmm.
and I could create my own variations.
Mm-hmm.
But I let the audio designers at Crystal Dynamics do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did all the
Implementation,
programming
yeah.
side,
Yeah.
implementation, right? Okay. And the game is also varied in terms of the environments.
Yeah.
So you got these, what's it called? Syria in the beginning.
Yes.
And later you spend a lot of time in Siberia.
Yeah.
And there you have those different like biomes and areas. You have this Soviet installation,
Yeah.
geothermal valley, and you also have these tombs and smaller enclosed areas. So how is that reflected in the music?
Yeah, we didn't want to focus so much on the geography.
Mhm.
For instance, in Syria, I didn't want to just play Middle Eastern music.
Yeah.
I tried to just
kind of worn out anyway.
right,
Yeah.
and then so I just tried to focus on Lara's mindset
Mhm.
and what she's going through, and she's just searching for things, but
Mhm.
and keeping the palette basically the same. Just lots of percussion, lots of strings, different instruments used in subtle ways. Like when she's in Syria, I do use ethnic instruments. I'll use an oud,
Mhm.
but it'll be kind of layered underneath.
Mhm.
And I'll use dulcimers
Mhm.
as well. And then when she gets to Siberia, I change it up by using lots of bowed metals
Mhm.
to complement the cold quality of being in icy climates
Mhm.
and
So it's more in terms of the color of the music, and you didn't
Yeah.
really use the stereotypical scales that you would play in the foreground when you're in
Right.
Syria.
Right.
But you would more like add it as a color and add it to and not really reflect it in the composition.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because what's most important for Rise of the Tomb Raider is Lara's viewpoint and her experience. And we have Lara's theme, and we have other themes of different characters that come in that she meets along the
Mhm.
way. And yeah, I just focused on keeping the palette orchestral with lots of various instruments that come according to where she is, but
Mhm.
used in subtle ways.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. You just mentioned the themes. Did
Yes.
you draw inspiration from previous soundtracks, and did you
Yes.
take some of the melodies
Sure. Well, yeah. Lara's theme was written by Jason Graves,
from the
From the
first
reboot.
reboot thing? Yeah.
which is a great theme. So I was honored to be able to use it in this game, and so that theme, that's her theme, and that plays an important role, obviously. Since she's the main character, and then we have different characters that she meets. She meets someone named Jacob. I don't want to give it away,
Okay.
but he's an important character in the game. And then I have a Kitesh theme, which is the Lost City.
Oh.
And I also have other themes, Divine Source theme. Everyone's looking for this one thing. Again, I don't want to give it away, even though it's been a couple of years now. So
Yeah, you
don't-
basically in spoiler.
yes. But there's what else is there? There's the Remnant, different characters, and Trinity. That's who Lara is up against in this game.
The antagonist. So, and those themes they mainly play like in cutscenes when the characters come on stage, like very
They
classic.
they play in cutscenes, and they're also implemented in the gameplay. Yeah.
Okay. So are there like bits and pieces of Lara's theme
Yes.
throughout the soundtrack?
I made sure that all the other themes that I wrote for the game could support that theme, could weave in and out. If we hear, if Lara accomplishes something, you hear her theme, but then it'll quickly go into another theme where she's climbing the mountain in Kitesh, and they all needed to work seamlessly together. So I made sure that nothing seemed out of place thematically.
Wow, I really hope that people appreciate that playing the game.
Hopefully.
Yeah, maybe sometimes it's like something you just like, it all feels very coherent and you don't notice it consciously.
Maybe that's a good thing, right? You're just focused on playing and get sucked in.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. And so, all right. What you sort of have this mixture in Rise of the Tomb Raider where you have a single player campaign that's fairly linear in terms of the plot,
right?
But you also have those bits of open world gameplay where you can like move around like in the previous title.
Yes.
So I imagine that it was kind of hard to have sort of an arc maybe in the music, or how was that a challenge for you?
Gosh, actually no, it wasn't a challenge. I mean, the music definitely builds, or it rises and falls depending on what's happening. The beginning of the game, the opening scene, is basically Lara looking at this huge mountain, and it's just you're presented with this epic view, and the music has to support that. So I think just there's a lot of rises and falls depending on what's happening in the game. In the open world area, it's the music usually just goes away, which is nice because you can just be in the environment and hear the animals and the wind. So
interesting, yeah. And maybe the music's all the more effective once it comes back in.
Sure. Yeah. So I didn't really have to worry about that. And of course, the ending. There's a big, big ending. And obviously, the music had to build and rise to that level. Sure. Visually too, to support what's happening visually and in the story.
Hi, I'm Julian from BehindTheAudio.com. Thank you for watching. Check out our website and subscribe to our channel for more audio news and insights.